The O Cannabis Conference and Expo returns to Toronto June 1st through the 3rd, and there's still some good booth locations available. This exciting event is free for cannabis retailers and will feature Tommy Chong receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award at the O Cannabis Industry Awards. For more information about exhibiting or to register to attend, go to ocannabis.com. That's OCANNABIZ.com. Today we're going to take a look at just a few options for automating cannabis, 5 ways to automate cannabis, diving into vertical integration, pre-rolls, vaping, greenhouses, and growing. So we're going to dive into all of that coming up.
It's only entertainment.
Welcome back to The Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast.
So we're just going to cover this marijuana venture article, 5 ways to automate cannabis, looking at vertical integrated agriculture. One of the things that they're pointing out is Essence grows, this vertical farming. Maybe not for everybody, but I think that vertical integrated agriculture is going to be something that you see in BIA, business integrated agriculture, whether that's to help reduce CO2, cool down a building, provide for vegetation if there's any kind of kitchen inside of the facility to grab basil or whatever else out of the grow wall. All of that is going to probably need to increase in popularity, availability, and that's why I kind of like pointing out just vertical integrated agriculture, because it can be in a city or rooftop, it can be in so many other places to reduce the space. It doesn't have to be all about robots and AI and automation. It can be just something simple, like stacking some plants on a rack. The takeaway from this is that it can automate cuttings from mother plants into 4,500 clones in 10 days. So that's going to drastically improve, any kind of grow that you have. So if you've ever tried to grow from seed or do that by hand, you're going to want to probably automate it. For those using greenhouses, there's blackout systems. I'd really like to hear from somebody in Fairbanks that has 23 and a half hours of daylight in the summer. How are you using greenhouses in the summertime and using any kind of blackout systems? That would be pretty hard, I would imagine, trying to get 12 hours of darkness in there. So this lighting system can be fully automated. Only takes a couple of minutes, 10 minutes, I guess, to deploy, and can be set to a timer. And the whole kind of takeaway from this is to provide tighter control of the growing environment for more consistent product. You're going to get higher yields too if everything is consistent. Trimming, also important. If you get a good trimmer, you can do 9 pounds an hour at least. There's also some other options, such as the Triminator. This one's 175,000. It's just a beast. You can just dump in massive, large volumes, and then out the other end, dry trim, wet trim, all of those options. So definitely something that people need, because his hand trim is not affordable, maybe for a smaller farm, but once legalization, federal, global legalization happens, you're going to have to automate that at this level. Pre-rolls are incredibly popular, and so a lot of people are going to want to automate that process. You can do up to 500 an hour, and in some cases throughput, not always the same as output though. And so looking at a couple of different options here, I really like the Blackbird from Roll Pros. This is a cylindrical option, so very similar to that little roller that you used to have, the little plastic roller. This is the same thing, so it can be designed for 0.5 gram, 1 gram, and they're working on larger, almost like hemp wrap blunts. So if they can get to 2 or 3.5 gram blunts. So these are really nice. This is going to be the ideal draw. But if you're still stuck on the shape and you want a cone, you can get one very inexpensively. So that's maybe a $300,000 machine. STM, they make something similar, cylindrical and cones for tabletops. So this may be more affordable when people want fully automation. They don't have a budget for it. And this is kind of that in-between option there. But before you get to this, you need a cutter. And so the Pulver Set 19 is not cheap. You're looking at about $37,000 for the grinder, and this is perfect for all cultivars and everything else. This is going to be something, and I've seen people who use, a blender made for ice. It's just not doesn't produce the same. There's a lot of automated pre-roll options now. Some of them are very, very similar, but not all of them are ideal, we'll say. Speaking of tabletop versions for filling machines for vape carts, also like why take a syringe and have somebody sit there all day? This is going to be precise. If you have any kind of trace tracking, then the state regulators can tie directly into the software, I'm assuming, and out you go. So not high production, but it's a start. I mean, everything's going to have to be, go from tabletop version. And then when mom and pops get squeezed out, they'll have all these huge options, whatever. And then some of those used options will then supply mom and pops when that trend happens, similar to the baristas. There's a lot of corner coffee shops now that kind of Starbucks blazes this trail, and Tully's kind of created some competition, and now everyone has a corner store barista, and then they get crazy on how to differentiate. Now you got bikini baristas, all this crazy stuff. Same thing, used equipment. You're going to have big cannabis. You're gonna have a lot of these people fail, and then in the end maybe pick up some of that used equipment, and you'll have craft cannabis coming in with products that people actually want. I'm kind of saying that repeatedly on purpose. Maybe one of these days it'll sink in. So accuracy, obviously important, ensuring that each cartridge contains the same amount every time. And that's not just for that. Like LEDs are an option. I mean, it's not automation, but it is cannabis tech. And so from seed to sale, how do you increase yields? You want to have it consistent. You want to automate. Kind of how I got into the industry was grabbing a team and trying to automate the grow side. So I was using a particular product, and it was clunky. It didn't really work. It was called Growtronics. Still trying to sell it if you want to buy it. I paid like $5,000 for it. I'm trying to get $1,000, but I'll take a pound. Wait, did I say that? You can increase the yield 40% if you dial everything in. And so using automation, using technology to get what that gauge is and dialing everything in is really important. There's going to be AI automation, robotics, and cannabis. They're going to be able to look at a plant. If it starts to taco, they'll be able to see that if it's environmental factors like too much fan blowing on it, or if it's a nutrient deficiency, it'll be able to determine that and adjust and correct accordingly, and then just notify you that it's been done after the fact. So although kind of scary, it's inevitable, and will hopefully produce some interesting products in cannabis and drive some of that price way, way down, just like any other industry, all using similar technology. So we've been reporting on this. There's a whole playlist called Hemp and Cannabis Automation. If you're looking for particular products, specifically pre-rolls, check that out.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.